Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a Friday edition of FPC Radio Live. That's right, it is November the 17th. There we go, 17th. I figured that one out on the fly. Didn't really even look. Just guessed, and it's John. I believe, actually, I know because I actually I just got charged for the for the renewal. I believe this is our 6-year anniversary here, full press coverage here on the 17th. Or at least, the 6-year anniversary of when I registered the domain name, at least. I believe it was a few days after that we published our first article, stuff like that, way back in the day. November 2017. It was good. Good time. Tom Brady was still playing. That's all I got. I just wanted to mention
That's Tom Brady.
Got.
Yeah, that's all you need, right? Well, congratulations, because, the first 6 years are always the most difficult.
Yes. 6 years, year 7. That's a good one. Seven. I like that name. Like Mickey Mantle, right? 7. I got a cat named Seven. So, but it wasn't so much naming him after Mickey Mantle. It was naming him after the reference made in Seinfeld. So, just so everyone knows what my motivations are. But, anyways, last night we saw what could possibly just be described as a disastrous Thursday night football, although, with 54 points scored and two of the top teams in the AFC North going at it, you would think, okay, there's a lot of drama, and there was. But the storyline coming out of this is, well, Joe Burrow, Mark Andrews, Odell Beckham Jr., and to some extent, Lamar Jackson. All those guys banged up. Obviously, the concerning injury. Well, first of all, Mark Andrews is done for the season with an ankle injury. That's the word. So that's a huge blow to the Ravens. Odell Beckham Jr., having his best game of the season, he went down with a shoulder injury. So we're still kind of waiting to hear about that. But the most alarming thing, obviously, is Joe Burrow's wrist, who, if you saw him trying to throw on the sideline, you notice he was in quite a bit of discomfort. And look, I think the Bengals are potentially teetering on a sinking ship right now. Something I would never have thought of coming into the season. No Joe Burrow, you can put an end to this team's hopes this year. And like I said, I think this is tough, because I feel like, the Bengals might be entering that era of where the Bills are right now, where it's you feel like maybe because you never realize it when it's happening, when a team peaks, when a team reaches its absolute height. But maybe we're starting to see that with the Bengals right now, because, well, we talked about slow starts, and that was fine for the Patriots because, well, guess what? Every year they'd end up 12-4, and they'd probably be in the Super Bowl. The Bengals don't look like a team that's going to be able to consistently overcome. Like, their slow start now is brutal, because they're already behind the 8 ball, and now they potentially could be without their quarterback for some time. If you're going to ask me what my panic percentage is, I'm getting up to about 100% with the Bengals.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, now they're in last place in the division. Baltimore really kind of took hold of the division last night. As we talked about yesterday, they're 2.5 games ahead of Cincinnati. They beat them twice this year, so they hold the tiebreaker. But now Baltimore has some injury concerns. Obviously, Mark Andrews is a key to their offense. We'll see what Odell Beckham Jr. is, if it's going to be multiple weeks. And then, of course, Lamar Jackson got dinged a little bit. But obviously, Joe Burrow is the key story of the night, because the Bengals at 5-5, if Burrow's out 2, 3, 4 weeks, I don't think they have a chance, because there's no margin for error. And they talked about a sprained right wrist. I mean, the thing looked like it might be broken, because he tried to throw the ball on the sideline after the touchdown pass, and he just couldn't do anything. And you saw the swelling in the wrist area and the hand. That would lead you to believe that it's a little bit more serious than that. So obviously that's something that's going to be difficult to deal with over the next few weeks for the Bengals. And again, they got off to that 1-3 start, won 4 in a row, looked like they were really trending in the right direction. And then they had a hiccup against the Texans on Sunday. And then last night that happened. They lose 34-20. So yeah, they're in tough shape. Just are the Buffalo Bills, right? Both teams 5-5, and you kind of felt that they'd both make the playoffs. Well, right now they're on the outside looking in, and they've got a lot of question marks.
Well, like I said, I mean, you don't necessarily realize it when it's happening, but, again, both of these teams may have kind of peaked and reached their apex. And we all assumed that it would eventually end in a Super Bowl championship, but maybe not. I mean, I think, look, the Bills look like their height of their success was 13 seconds left in the AFC Championship game, or I'm sorry, the divisional round game.
Divisional round,
yeah. That was their height. The Bengals obviously made the Super Bowl, lost, but again, we talk about this all the time with like quarterbacks, and look, you and I both love Joe Burrow. I think he's a really good quarterback. I think I'm going to be a lot harsher distributor of the great label. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm just as bad as anyone else in throwing around great. Great's not a easy thing to throw around. Like every young quarterback's great now, John. Oh, he's great. He's great. Kyler Murray's great. No, he's not. They're good quarterbacks. Okay. Joe Burrow might be great. Might be, John. But he needs to stay healthy. Like I understand that it's not entirely his fault that, his out, but every year, John, it's an injury. It's something. It's something that's stopping the progress. And again, it's not fair to compare anything to Tom Brady, but 21 years. He missed that one season with a devastating knee injury that could have been prevented if a player didn't dive into his knee. That's it. And
okay, but Joe Burrow's rookie year, he got his knee blown up, similar to the way Brady got his knee blown up in 2008. Since then, he hasn't missed a game. I mean, he played every game. Now it looks like he's going to miss something going forward unless he has a miraculous
I'm saying he's had nagging injury situations but
we also heard that Brady was tough and plowed through them as well.
Right.
So,
but they won.
That's a great thing.
But what I'm saying is
he's only in his fourth year, and he went to the Super Bowl the second year of the AFC Championship game.
I understand.
His third year,
I understand. But
11.
No, and look, like I said, I'm just saying, John. I think, and this has kind of been a theme this whole season that we've talked about. I think we've gotten too comfortable jumping the gun on declaring these quarterbacks great. What is great, John? Is it having some nice moments, or is it consistent, sustained greatness? And to me, it's the latter. And I feel like there's very few quarterbacks outside of probably Patrick Mahomes, and I know Chiefs fans. Yes, I'm giving him credit. Outside of him, there's really no quarterback in the league right now that has done that.
No, because they're so young and they haven't accomplished what they may accomplish. Right?
Josh Allen's been in the league for 5 years. Joe Burrow's entering his fourth season. I'm saying they're young. Yes, Lamar Jackson's been in the league for a while. I mean, these guys.
Peyton Manning 7 years to win a playoff game.
No, that's true. Hey, it could happen.
Forget Brady. Just, you got to put him off to the side and stop comparing anybody to him. That's just like a freak show with him. I mean, his accomplishments are like.
Oh, sure, yeah, no, ridiculous. I'm not.
That's the problem people have is when they go, well, this guy is obviously not. That there's no one that's going to measure up to that. I mean, if Josh Allen, Joe Burrow each win a Super Bowl, that's a good career.
Well,
that's a lot of great quarterbacks had one Super Bowl win.
But that's kind of what That's kind of like what I'm saying, though, is like they can still become that. But I'm saying right now, if you ask just the casual, we have so many great quarterbacks in this league. No, we don't. They might become great. They might have had some nice moments, but we don't, John. We don't. It's just the reality of it. Part of it's because there's a lot of young quarterbacks. Sure, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of guys that haven't even had a chance to necessarily put a decade together. So I get that. I understand, but it still doesn't justify prematurely calling them great. And I think that's my issue. And I'm not trying to focus on Joe Burrow. I'm just in generalities that we do this in every sport. Hyperbole is the name of the game, John. I think that's my ultimate battle here. I'm trying to push back on hyperbole because I think it's gotten a little out of control, and we talk about this with Mahomes all the time. We've never seen this before, or like he's doing this, that he's reinventing this. It's like, no. We've seen this. We've seen other players play different styles like this. We've seen guys throw sidearms. We saw Brett Favre do, that type of thing. And we're seeing that when we declare quarterbacks great, because it's like, well, he's athletic, so he's great. Well, no, you have to do more to become great. So I think that's what I'm pushing back at, John. I'm trying to, like, this isn't everyone gets a trophy, okay, John? Like, not everyone can win. There's losers in life. It's just how it is. There's losers. There are players that are better. There are players that are a lot better. There are players that are probably fringe NFL players that just probably don't belong on the same field as some of these other players. It's reality, John. Life isn't fair. It's not going to even out. So again, when we throw around the word great, it's kind of silly. Like, I heard people calling Trevor Lawrence great. What? Why is Trevor Lawrence great? Why, you know what I mean? Like, why is it just it drives me nuts, John? And I think we're seeing that more and more this year. Why it's kind of a silly declaration. And again, now we're looking at a Bengals team who, what, a year ago, even coming into the season, we're thinking this is the next AFC team. Joe Burrow, he's gonna push for being the top dog in the AFC. Well, 2023 starts and it's the same old story. Slow start, some injury issues, some things holding them back. There's some poor play at the beginning, and now all of a sudden injuries. And okay, so is it 2024 the year of the Bengals? Well, I don't know. At this point, I almost feel like, do you consider maybe a coach change after this?
Could be. Yeah, it could be. And again, the season's not over. I mean, we'll see how long he's going to be out. We've seen teams at 5-5 catch fire, end up 10-7, get in the postseason, and then they get hot at the right time. I mean, just think of the New York Giants on several occasions.
Yeah, I don't want to.
The Ravens
Thanks.
in 2012, but that does happen. It hasn't happened as much recently in the NFL. It seems to be more of, okay, Kansas City and Philadelphia are the one seeds, because the one seeds have an advantage because they get the bye week, that they have a chance to get to the Super Bowl like they did last year. But the year before, Cincinnati was 10-7. The Rams were playing about 500 ball in November, and then they caught fire at the right time. So we'll see what happens. Now we're talking about an injury, though. If this was just a loss last night and they can regroup, that's fine. But now you don't know if your quarterback's going to be able to go out there in 10 days and play, let alone if he's going to go out there in 3 weeks. So that's obviously a major, major question mark. So absolutely. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, Mahomes is a guy right now who's accomplished things. He's won 2 Super Bowls. He's won 2 MVPs. He's actually done it. And, he's there again this year. He's not having a great year statistically, but the team is winning. They're finding ways to win. Their defense has been really good. So, sure. Yeah, the problem is that a lot of the older quarterbacks just haven't been able to do what you may have expected them to do, or you may have thought they would do, because for the most part, Brady, took over everything. Like, it's tough to win Super Bowls when one guy wins 7, and then you throw in Manning with 2 and Roethlisberger with 2, and there's not a lot left. You can only win 1 a year. So like Russell Wilson, if he had developed along those lines, maybe would have 2 Super Bowls and he'd be considered, like the game.
Right.
Right now, it's a lot of young guys. The old guys are either, on the decline or injured or just haven't accomplished as much.
Right. Exactly. And it's like, it's funny because, like, I was in a conversation, obviously it's centered around quarterbacks, and they were talking about how we like Kansas City was a good team before Mahomes arrived. Obviously, Mahomes took them over the top, and it was we see this all the time. But this team was really good. I mean, multiple time division winner. They had been in the playoffs for the 5 years prior to his arrival. But the argument someone was trying to make was like, they didn't even sniff the AFC Championship game before Mahomes. Well, I'm like, there's a reason for that. Because Peyton Manning and Tom Brady dominated that conference. There's a lot of teams that didn't sniff the AFC Championship game for years because of those two. And it's like, it's not a coincidence that, well, when those guys go away, all of a sudden Kansas City's there to fill the void, because quite frankly, there's no one else in the AFC that's even remotely competitive. And when they were, they lost. And that was the Patriots in 2018. I mean, really, the Bengals and the Bengals, of course. But again, that for now, it seems like more of a one-off than anything with the Bengals, because, well, it's only been that one season where they went to that Super Bowl run. Everything else has kind of come with like a, unfortunately this happened or that happened. Or
so that organization getting the AFC Championship game last year is an accomplishment. I mean, Burrow did go to like one of the worst organizations.
Oh, sure. No, absolutely.
He obviously changed a lot there too. And again, let's not forget, Kansas City won a playoff game in 1993. They got to the AFC Championship game in 1993. They did not win another playoff game till 2018. It went 25 years between playoff wins.
I thought they won one before 2018, because they won with They won one with Alex Smith playing.
Didn't they blow a lead in Indianapolis and lost to Andrew Luck? I don't know if they won any playoff games with Alex Smith. I know they went to the playoffs 4 times. They might have won one in there. That may have escaped my mind, but I know they didn't have any playoff success really between 93 and 2018.
Yeah,
that was always the joke.
I feel like even, the Ahmad Green, Trent Green, and the running back there, not Ahmad Green, that's Green Bay. Priest Holmes during that era, I felt like maybe they were. Let me go to the old Google machine. I'm gonna try to figure this out because before we do our picks, I do want to kind of see what's going to happen here. So I think we actually might have just lost John there for a second, but it's okay. It's okay because I'm going to call him. He's going to pick up and he's going to hear my voice. And nope, apparently we lost him for good. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I think he's right. I'm seeing a lot of conference 1993. Yeah, you're right, John. You can't hear me, but I'm telling you, you're right. Yeah, you have a couple divisional appearances. Oh, there we go. Here we go. Yeah, you're right, John. I was looking at it here. A lot of lost wild card, lost divisional round, and yeah,
really no playoff success. So and he's 11-3 in the postseason, and you can talk about who he's beaten, whether it's Jacksonville or Tennessee or whoever, but he's still 11-3 in the postseason, so you got to give him a little bit of credit for that.
Well, they won. They beat the Texans in 2015 in the wild card round.
Okay, that's the one win, right? And then they lost to the Patriots in the divisional round that year.
Yeah, and then I think, hold on, I'm looking at this right now. Oh, wow, yeah, that's right. Okay, okay. Yeah, because that team, that 2003 team was really, really good, but they ran into the Colts, who were better. So, So, yeah, but look, part of it is obviously, bad luck. Again, when you have guys like Brady and Manning dominating a conference for as long as they did, there's not much left to go around when you only have two teams ultimately competing to go to the Super Bowl from that conference. So, but anyway, so okay, let's get into our picks because, excuse me, we do have some pretty good games, including a Super Bowl rematch on Monday Night Football, which is probably the really the game that we should all be excited for and we should be excited for. But we're going to start with Dallas at Carolina. Last week, Dallas had a big win because, obviously they played the Giants, and luckily for them, they get the Carolina Panthers, a team that is fairly close to the Giants in terms of ability and success this season. So I'll take Dallas because they're a bad team, but I still, John, it's going to take me a while to really be sold on Dallas. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just history, and I know that's not fair, and it has no bearing on this team, but I don't know, John. I can't buy into the Cowboys yet. I just can't do it.
The Cowboys in the NFC and the Dolphins in the AFC, when they're good, they're really good. They blow out the weak sisters of the league, but then when they face strong competition, they struggle. So Carolina's not strong competition, so we'll pick Dallas.
All right, next we have Pittsburgh at Cleveland. Cleveland going without Deshaun Watson. He's done for the year. I like Pittsburgh here because why the hell not, John? It doesn't matter. They could be outgained, and they're somehow going to figure out a way to win. So give me Pittsburgh on the road and what should probably be still a pretty gritty, nasty AFC North battle.
This looks like 16-13, doesn't it? I'll take Cleveland. Pittsburgh beat them earlier in the year with turnovers, and again, they were outgained in that game like they have been in every one of the 9 games this year. So I think kind of a little bit of a bounce back for Cleveland against Pittsburgh. And again, Cleveland is coming off a big win over Baltimore, and Pittsburgh has just been trudging along winning games. But I'll take Cleveland in an ugly, close game.
Next, we have Chicago at Detroit, or in other words, the battle of the two teams that Aaron Rodgers has highlights against. Sans again, just, without the Dallas one. Really, John, a lot of, I remember, a lot of the big time highlights. They always came against Chicago and Detroit.
And Dallas.
And Dallas once. That one time with the guy with the pitcher and the goatee saying, oh, gave him too much time. And everyone's like, oh, all right, Aaron Rodgers. All right. Well, sadly, the Dallas Cowboys stink. Chicago Bears stink. Detroit doesn't. I got Detroit in this one. You can argue that they're one of the best teams in the NFC. I think the Eagles are that right now, but Detroit's certainly making a case, or at least they look like they're making a case at times. I'll take Detroit, although, what they give up 38 points last week. You can't be doing that too often.
No, but I don't think Chicago's offense will be confused with the Chargers'
no.
offense. So they should get a little bit of a break on that one. Yeah, Detroit, which is 15-4 in their last 19 games. That's pretty amazing to look at that stretch. They're for real. They'll win this game, and then they've got Thanksgiving against Green Bay. They'll be looking at 9-2 a week from now. I like Detroit Sunday against Chicago.
All right, next, Houston hosting Arizona. Houston, the hot team right now. Arizona got Kyler Murray back last week. Look, I'm going to keep riding with Houston. They're on a roll right now. They're playing great. CJ Stroud is really making a case for himself in the MVP race, and I think it's going to keep going. So Houston at home.
I'm going to take Arizona in the upset. They've been competitive all year. They won last week against Atlanta, and I think they'll find a way to beat Houston, who, again, might be a little flat after that big one over Cincinnati last week. Give me Arizona in an upset.
Yeah, I would have thought maybe that would have been the case against Cincinnati based off the week before. But, like I said, back-to-back big moments. True. It's a big it's a good sign for Houston and that young quarterback. So Raiders at Miami. The Raiders, I'm sure, are thrilled to not be in Las Vegas this weekend because of that F1 series situation. I'm thrilled I'm not there. It's the one time I don't want to be out there. I just don't even want to deal with it. But they're going to be it's going to be a long flight home because this is a situation where Miami, yes, is going to beat up on a bad team. So give me Miami.
Miami's great at this, right? They'll hang 38, 41, 45 points, and everybody will say they're the best team in the AFC, and then they'll face someone strong the next week or the week after and struggle. But Miami at home against weak teams, they dominate, and they will on Sunday.
All right, next, and this is how bad the Giants are. Excuse me. They are, I believe, a 9-point underdog to the Commanders. Look, the Commanders, Sam Howell leads the league in passing yards and has had a really nice run here this season. So I'm not completely dismissing the Commanders, but it's the Commanders and you're 9-point underdogs. That's just not good. So I'm going to go with Washington because, well, there's a reason for that. So Commanders at home, Sam Howell keeping his pretty good run going here.
Yep, I'll go with Washington as well.
All right, next, Green Bay, ahead of that Thursday night game, Thanksgiving game, is hosting the Chargers. I like the Chargers. I mean, Green Bay. Look, they're built to stop the pass, and they can't stop the pass. Like that's not a good thing, John. Like know what I mean? Like their defense was built to not allow big plays, and I feel like that's all they do. And against the Chargers team, that's not a good recipe. So I like the Chargers.
Chargers, who play okay on the road because they really don't have a home field advantage. They have more talent than Green Bay, more to play for at this point. They're kind of on the outskirts of the playoffs, still alive. I'll take the Chargers in what could be a really close game, but I'll take the Chargers.
All right, next we have Tennessee heading to Jacksonville. I'm picking the upset, John. Not that I believe in the Titans, but I'm so down on Jacksonville right now that I feel like this is just going to be another nail in their coffin. I mean, like I said, some of the wins that they had, opportunities that they missed. I've been disappointed in Trevor Lawrence's development or play. Maybe again, going back to our conversation that started off this show, everyone telling me that he was great for so long and this generational talent. Well, I've yet to see that, and neither has Jacksonville. And I think Jacksonville does have talent, but it's not playing well enough together consistently. And I think that's why this team loses to good teams and has stinkers against bad teams. And I think they're going to have a stinker this time. So give me Tennessee.
I'll take Jacksonville just to be different. Plus, Tennessee really has trouble moving the football, scoring points. And Jacksonville, of course, is so inconsistent. It's their time to put some points on the board, and I think they'll beat their division rival.
All right, next, Tampa Bay at San Francisco, the game of Brady's former team and the team he should have gone to at some point. Because, I mean, this is going to be the story of the 49ers, is they're never going to win a Super Bowl in this stretch because they've just never had the quarterback. And they've had the opportunity to get that guy. I'm not pretending like I know if there was an offer on the table or there was an actual clear path for Tom Brady to sign with the 49ers. But they've been very, I don't know, stubborn in saying that we don't need him. Well, Tom Brady's on this 49ers team this year, a couple of years ago. They're probably looking at their second Super Bowl title in the last few years. I mean, it's just how it is. I mean, San Francisco is stacked. I think they're really going to take it to Tampa Bay this weekend, regardless of how well Brock Purdy plays. I think San Francisco, you add Chase Young, this defense is now kind of formidable again, and going up against a Baker Mayfield led team. Well, those defensive linemen are going to eat this weekend. So give me San Francisco.
Yeah, San Francisco, I think they want to make a statement here, make sure they take care of business because they're still in a division rival, and they've got a game coming up on Thanksgiving against Seattle, which would be for the division lead if both teams win. So they'll take care of business. I think San Francisco in a blowout.
All right, next we have Buffalo hosting the Jets, and man, I really, really wanted to pick I didn't want to. I was just very close to picking the Jets again. This is going to be an ugly win for Buffalo. I think they're going to squeak it out, but this is not going to be encouraging by any means. They're going to probably head home after that and be like, thank God we held on to that. But yeah, so I'll take Buffalo, but I am not confident in that pick right now.
Yeah, I'll take Buffalo too. Do you realize the Jets have not scored an offensive touchdown in 11 consecutive quarters? Yeah. That almost seems impossible. That's like 1976 Tampa Bay Buccaneers stuff.
I've been watching the Patriots play. That does not seem impossible to me because I'm pretty sure the Patriots went through that.
Week 18 when the Jets come to Foxborough to play the Patriots. What's the over and under of that game?
Oh my God, 7 points.
I know. Yeah, there you go. Your favorite number.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll take Buffalo. They've got to beat the Jets because the Jets right now can't move the football.
You know what? 7 is kind of my favorite number now that I think about it. Tom Brady has 7 Super Bowl titles. How about that? You know,
pretty good.
Look at that. What do you know? I didn't even plan that when I named that cat. So
as George says, everything is locking in.
Yeah.
Everything is locking in.
Yeah, but then you get hit or something or laid up after that.
Everything fell apart like it always do with George.
It's the summer of George. Anyway, Seattle at the Rams. I took Seattle in this one. Again, these are always fun matchups, regardless of where these teams stand in that season. So I like Seattle in this one. And like you said, if they both win, San Francisco and Seattle, then you have a pretty big matchup on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, the Rams upset Seattle in week 1. I think Seattle pays them back in week 2. And home field advantage isn't as pronounced in the NFL as it has been in the past. I think partly because a lot of these fan bases travel now, right? I mean, we see Detroit's traveling to all of their locations, especially Southern California, because the Rams and Chargers don't really have home field advantage. But I'm going to take Seattle here. Actually, my best bet of the week. I think they'll get the job done in Southern California.
I'll say it's because most of those home field advantages, because the only time they were ever talked about is basically with good teams and dominant quarterbacks.
Exactly. Yeah. So, Rodgers at Lambeau, except for the playoffs, was dominant, and so was Brett Favre. And Brady was dominant everywhere, wherever you put him. And so
but I mean, more so, like we've seen all the stats now. Like he had, like Mac Jones has already as many losses at home in Foxborough than Brady had his entire career. And again, we're not trying to compare the two because Mac Jones isn't Tom Brady, but that's just an outrageously absurd number when Mac Jones is in year 3 and Brady played 19 years here. So. Yeah, I mean, those guys like chalk it up as a win when you played in their territory. So I think that's where this home field advantage idea came from. Now we don't have as many dominant quarterbacks. We don't really have there weren't as many frequent dominant defenses, but there were some. You know, we talk about that Seattle run for a couple years where they were historically great, not just great in that season, but like great historically. You know, some of those early 2000s, you know, obviously the Ravens and the Buccaneers, those early defenses, those were, you know, kind of game changing units. But for the most part, it was, you were dominant at home because you had a dominant quarterback. And like we said before, you know, the 2000s and 2010s were just littered with real great quarterbacks. Like we've talked about it before. Like if you're gonna, you know, I've listed like the top 5 quarterbacks of that era, and like only Patrick Mahomes might break that list, and he might come in at 5. You know, so like everyone else would be a tier 2 or tier 3 that's playing right now. So they're just not at that level yet. So anyways, Denver hosting Minnesota. I like Denver in this one. I mean, their defense has been playing great. Russell Wilson has had a really fine season. And Minnesota, I think eventually the Josh Dobbs stuff is going to kind of fizzle out because, well, my opinion, he's a career backup for a reason. He's bounced around from team to team for a reason. And, it's not a knock on him. It's just, look, like I said before, life's not fair. Not every player is created equal. Denver, I think, is going to dominate defensively and score enough offensively. So give me Denver at home.
Yeah, Denver's turning this season around. If they win here, they're back to 500. Just, again, on the outer edges of the playoffs, but certainly a team that could cause some problems in the final 2 months of the season. I'll take Denver over Minnesota Sunday night.
All right, last but not least, the game of the week, Monday Night Football, Kansas City hosting Philadelphia. Look, I like Philadelphia in this one for a lot of reasons. Obviously, the Chiefs' offense just hasn't been that great this season. It's certainly not their advantage like it used to be. I mean, their advantage comes defensively. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle Philadelphia's offense. Obviously, Philadelphia, I mean, you look at that team and it's like their weakness is really their secondary. Mm-hmm. But this isn't really the year where you're sitting there saying that, well, Kansas City can take advantage of that, because I don't know if they can. I just don't know if they have the personnel, John. Look at their wide receiver group and how they're running their offense. Well, they're pretty much Kelsey and the running backs. That's it. And that's a lot of pressure to put on a 34-year-old tight end to kind of carry that offense. So to me, I think Philadelphia is going to outlast them talent-wise, and they just have too much on, I think, both sides of the ball. So give me Philadelphia on the road.
Yeah, I like Philadelphia too. Super Bowl rematch, a little bit of revenge. That pass rush for Philadelphia could cause some problems for Patrick Mahomes, even if his receivers are able to get open against that average secondary that Philadelphia has. And good luck trying to stop the Philadelphia offense. It's so diversified. They can run the football. They've got a great offensive line. And A.J. Brown is an MVP candidate. He and Tyreek Hill are two wide receivers that deserve some consideration for MVP. So I'll take Philadelphia in a revenge situation.
Yeah, and perhaps being on the national stage against the Chiefs and A.J. Brown has a big game. Maybe that's going to elevate his case. So, all right, that's going to do it for us here today. Be sure to tune in on Sunday when myself and Braden preview all of Sunday's action. But also come back Monday when we kind of wrap things up and then maybe change our mind on our Monday Night Football pick or anything like that. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and we'll talk to you then.